In this video we'll talk about mass extinctions and how they're different to kind of the normal rates of extinction we see throughout history. We'll also be able to hopefully be able to distinguish between the common extinction events, so the kind of more regular extinction rate, as opposed to these mass extinction events. There are 5 so far, maybe a 6th one coming up. So you should know those 5. And then to understand how humans are possibly causing the 6th mass extinction event. So how we are responsible for maybe the worst one yet. Right, but first, what are the 5 mass extinction events? Well, first of all, a mass extinction event is basically if any one point in time, more than 50% of all species become extinct. And remember, extinct means they're no longer there. They're completely wiped off from the face of the earth. Now, the first one is the late Ordovician. This happened about 440 million years ago. And basically at this point, all life was in the ocean. Now what happened was you had an ice age that happened. Right, so an ice age occurred. And ice ages means obviously it gets quite, ice caps form and the sea levels sunk, and that caused devastation within the ocean. So that meant you had your first mass extinction about 440 million years ago. Then the next one was about 375 million years ago, and that was in the late Devonian. By this point, life form was a bit more complex already. We had different types of fish around, but life was still mainly in the ocean. But we had a bit of life actually come onto land, and that's what actually caused this mass extinction. Because some plants evolved, and the plants caused soil to go back into the ocean, which caused algae bloom. So algae blooms are these algae which basically take away nutrients from things in the ocean, and that caused them to suffocate. So again, a huge amount of life species were lost in the late Devonian period. But that was mainly due to plant evolution, which caused algae blooms in the ocean and killed most of the life in the ocean. Then we have the worst one yet. You can see that drop here is quite big, and that was called the Great Dying, or also known as the late Permian extinction. And that happened about 250 million years ago. And this was actually interesting enough due to more or less Pangea forming. Remember, Pangea was that massive continent, and when it formed, well, we had lots of converging boundaries all coming together to form this one huge continent. And that meant on the edges we had lots of volcanoes that would erupt, and that would cause carbon dioxide to increase, and this caused basically massive global warming on the big scale. So these volcanoes that came because of Pangea forming caused global warming on a massive scale, and that caused temperatures to increase so much that most life couldn't survive. About 95% of all species were wiped out, and that included a lot of reptile-like dinosaurs. These was not actually dinosaurs yet; they were reptile-like. They're still reptile, but they were looking very similar to dinosaurs. Then 200 million years, so 50 million years after this, came the late Triassic period. We don't actually know exactly why there's now a mass extinction at this point, but again, it was also affecting dinosaurs. In this case, actually dinosaurs that had evolved. The more simpler type, the smaller type, but we believe probably also global warming due to possible volcanic eruptions. This was roughly the point when Pangea was breaking up again. So again, a bit of activity that would have caused possibly carbon dioxide to increase, and then mass extinction from that. And then the one we know best, 66 million years ago, a comet hit in the late Cretaceous period, and that caused all dinosaurs to become extinct. So these were the quite evolved and bigger dinosaurs at this point, and they went extinct 66 million years ago. Now, at the moment, we are at obviously 0 million years, but this is the 6th possible. It's not yet a mass extinction, but it's heading towards it. And that's the human one that's caused by humans. Right? So now we need to talk about this natural extinction versus that mass extinction event, and what makes one as opposed to the other. So as I mentioned at some point in a different video, about 99%, so this is the 1% that currently lives, but about 99% that has ever lived, so this majority down here, has by today gone extinct. So for things to become extinct, it's quite common, and we mentioned things like changing climate, increased competition, a new disease, amongst other things, could actually be causing this, right? So that's normal, and normally we have a rate, species go extinct, it's called a background, it's an important term, background extinction, and we have things going extinct at roughly a rate of 1 to 5 species per year. That's normal. But now, at the moment, it's a bit different. It's because we are heading toward that mass extinction. So all those 5 mass extinctions I talked about, plus the possible one that's coming up, which is the human one, all follow a different path. So here we don't just have climate change, we have dramatic climate change. So quick that the natural environment changes so fast that things can't get adapted to it quick enough. So all the animals and plants don't get adapted quick enough, and that means they get wiped out. So a very dramatic climate change, a major disaster, not just a disaster, but a major disaster. So for example, like the asteroid that hit 66 million years ago, that can cause a mass extinction. We can have a dramatic change in the environment, often linked to global climate change. Right? Again, if it happens so quickly, then things can't become adapted to it quickly enough. Species can't, and then they just get wiped out in general. Now these are kind of the natural ones. These happen not because of human intervention. They can, right? Climate change can be human as well. But most of them are natural. But the other ones, these 4 here, these are more at the moment due to human intervention. So we have the loss of habitat, right? Because we destroy it to build cities, to get wood, and to get farming land. We can have severe pollution. So the algae bloom, we cause them as well because of overconsumption of fertilizers which run off into rivers. We can cause other kind of toxins to get into the rivers and thereby cause severe pollution. And the overconsumption of natural resources. Right, so we're just taking way more than we should. We are increasing our consumption by 25% more than what the world can sustain. Right? So we're basically going at a rate that can't be sustained. And also hunting. Right? So hunting is another thing that is not really helping, and it's both legal and illegal hunting. But these 4 plus climate change, which we also can be causing, are all human factors that are causing this sixth mass extinction. Now, I'm saying that because our current extinction rate is 1,000 to 10,000 species per year. Remember, the normal one should be 1 to 5 species per year, but ours currently is 1,000 to 10,000 species that get extinct every year. And that's definitely the human factor that's causing it. Right? So just know that we are currently in that mass extinction period number 6, and that's all due to human involvement. Right, so again, we want to make sure we can name the 5 mass extinction events by the end, right? And they were the late Ordovician, late Devonian, late Permian, late Triassic, and late Cretaceous, and also the reasons why they happened. Right, so the first one was an ice age. The second one was the algae bloom that killed off all those fish. The third and the fourth, probably global warming, which caused them to not be able to evolve quickly enough, and they all got wiped out. And then the last one was the asteroid that hit in the late Cretaceous period. Right, so those are 5 mass extinction events and their causes. And you also need to be able to know the difference between that common and mass extinction. So common, you usually have between 1 and 5 species that become extinct every year. That's kind of normal. But at the moment, and this happened during all the other mass extinctions as well, we're losing about 1,000 to 10,000 species per year. So that's going towards mass extinction. And then again, how are humans responsible for the possible 6 mass extinction? We have things like pollution, hunting, and global warming that we're contributing to. And all of these are leading towards that 6th big event throughout history. Right? So something that we need to be mindful of.